Hey Simpsons fans, welcome back to our channel. Today, we will take a trip down memory lane and explore some of the most beloved characters from The Simpsons who have left our screens forever. These characters left an unforgettable mark on the show, from heartwarming family moments to hilarious shenanigans. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we reminisce about the great Simpsons characters we'll never see again. Troy McClure, the charming actor who always introduced himself in the most eccentric ways. Voiced by the talented Phil Hartman, Troy was known for his memorable roles in films like P is for Psycho and The President's Neck is Missing.
I'm Troy McClure, star of such films as P is for Psycho and The President's Neck is Missing.
Sadly, Phil Hartman's untimely passing in 1998 meant the end of Troy McClure's appearances in the show. But we'll always cherish his hilarious moments that left us laughing out loud.
Selma Jeb Jeb is fantastic. Welcome to your new home, baby. It's fantastic.
Jay Sherman. In the Simpsons episode A Star is Burns, the acerbic New York film critic Jay Sherman visits Springfield for the very first time. Did you know that Jay was the main character on a TV program appropriately titled The Critic? After a short run on ABC in 1994, this adult animated comedy series developed by The Simpsons' third and fourth season showrunners was canceled owing to low ratings. Fortunately, The Critic was saved when executive producer Mel Brooks and the minds behind The Simpsons agreed with Fox to bring back the show. It debuted at 8:30 p.m., right after The Simpsons' notorious film festival episode. Cartoonist Matt Groening was not enthusiastic about the idea of a crossover advertisement. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, he stated his disagreement, giving two key reasons. He didn't want to be held responsible for what happened to The Critic. Second, he thought it was a betrayal of The Simpsons show's integrity to have another cartoon character appear. The issue was so crucial to Groening that he took his name off the credits for A Star is Burns. He didn't want viewers to think the program was just a plug for The Critic. That's why we didn't see more of Jay Sherman, the crossover hero. Sherman was written out of the show early on, but his ingenious ideas allowed him to return in subsequent episodes, such as when he was stuck in a Springfield mental hospital and kept saying, "It stinks, it stinks," or sitting on a bar stool with other well-known figures, all of whom are voiced by John Lovitz. Anyway, it appears that Jay Sherman's time in Springfield was supposed to be more of an interesting aside than a recurring plot point. Bleeding Gums Murphy. Oh, music lovers surely remember Bleeding Gums Murphy, Lisa's jazz mentor and saxophone legend. His soulful music and wise advice touched the hearts of many. Portrayed by the legendary jazz musician Ron Taylor, Bleeding Gums Murphy left an indelible impression on the series. His passing in 2002 marked a heartfelt farewell to a character who added so much depth to Springfield's music scene. Rabbi Hyman Krastofsky. In the third season episode, Like Father, Like Clown, Bart and Lisa try to reconnect Krusty the Clown with his estranged father. Hyman made infrequent appearances after their reconciliation, including a religious disagreement with Reverend Lovejoy and an appearance on a reality show modeled after the Kardashians with his kid. Nearly 23 years after his initial appearance, the character was killed off in the episode Clown in the Dumps from season 26. The loss of Hyman caused Krusty to spiral into a deep despair, but Bart is back to cheer up his idol. There have been a few sightings of the dead rabbi following his passing, usually in the form of an angel or a ghost. Before we dive further, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss any of our Simpsons content. Let's continue. Frank Grimes, aka Grimy. His short-lived appearance on the show left a lasting impression. As a hardworking and brilliant man, Grimy's frustration with Homer's carefree life was hilarious and tragic.
I'm not your buddy, Simpson. I don't like you. In fact, I hate you. Stay the hell away from me. Because from now on, we're enemies.
Okay.
Despite his untimely and shocking end, his character became a fan favorite for his relatable struggles. Larry Burns. Do you remember lazy Larry Burns? The one who would have inherited Mr. Burns' wealth if things didn't go sideways? So here's the backstory. One almost random day, Larry saw Mr. Burns sitting on a stalled train while working at the souvenir booth. After Larry immediately recognized him as his father, he caught a ride to Springfield and visited Mr. Burns at his mansion, where he finally came clean about being his son. They got along well at first, but their differences eventually became apparent. Like Homer Simpson, Larry was too chill, sluggish, and stereotypical. Mr. Burns would not have such a son. He just won't. He ultimately chose to head back home for the sake of his family, who hadn't heard from him in a week. Maybe his wife was upset and forbade him to come back to Daddy Warbucks, or maybe something else happened to make it so he could never return. The death of Rodney Dangerfield, the voice actor, comedian, and all-around performer behind the character Larry in 2004 was a prominent and appropriate ending for the character. But 13 years after the voice actor's death in season 28, notably in Camp Crustier, Larry's recollection reappeared. A youngster who left Camp Krusty in the episode had a very Larry Burns-like voice and demeanor. It's possible that this was meant as a subtle tribute to Mr. Burns' long-lost son, or it could just be a joke for diehard viewers. Dr. Marvin Monroe. Do you also remember Dr. Marvin Monroe, the unconventional family therapist who tried to cure the Simpsons' dysfunctional dynamics? Yeah, that guy. Voiced by Harry Shearer, Dr. Monroe's character brought comedic relief and unique solutions to the Simpson family's problems. Although he hasn't appeared on the show for a while, his wacky therapy sessions are still fondly remembered. Fat Tony. One of the most menacing characters in the history of The Simpsons, Fat Tony is rightfully enshrined in the Hall of Villains. And fun fact, he is based on a real-life mobster, Anthony Fat Tony Salemo. Now folks, Fat Tony may still appear on the show to this day, but his story has taken an intriguing turn. Fat Tony's first death is documented in the show's extensive backstory occurring during season 22's riveting episode Donnie Fatso due to a heart attack. The criminal underground, however, could not survive for very long without a strong leader. His cousin, the doomed Fit Tony, came in to fill his uncle's shadowy shoes. Still, Fit Tony couldn't handle the stress of leading a criminal organization. After several failed assassination attempts, he turned to an unhealthy coping mechanism: binge eating. His name evolved from Fit Tony to the sardonic Fit Fat Tony, and then back to the more recognizable Fat Tony as the weight continued to pile on. During season 33's nail-biting episode, this new Fat Tony also died. But in a plot twist that could only happen on The Simpsons, he defied death and came back to life a few episodes later. Fat Tony has left an indelible mark on the Springfield mythos via his many incarnations, leaving viewers in awe of his magnetism and questioning the mysterious ties that bind life and death. Alice Glick. Alice Glick was a minor character whose primary purpose was to make fun of the elderly. She lived on Evergreen Terrace for a long time and was featured on the show quite a number of times, albeit rarely saying anything of note. She may have been modest, but she still gave the show several laugh-out-loud moments. After 23 seasons, Alice's character was killed off in the episode Replaceable You. Curiously, however, she made a few cameo appearances in future episodes after her death. Whether her death was a fake-out or the writers simply neglected to write her out of the program is unknown. However, since she hasn't been seen in a while and only as a ghost, it's safe to assume that she is, in fact, dead and gone forever. Maude Flanders. Maude, Ned's wife and the mother of his sons Rod and Todd, has been a recurring character on the show since her debut in the second season's Dead Putting Society. She shared her husband's fervent Christian faith and his intolerance for ideas that conflicted with his. Many memorable occasions could be traced back to her, especially those she shared with Helen Lovejoy. Many of the show's fans, like Ned and his family, were devastated by Maude's sudden death. Even while character deaths were quite common, it was odd that such a prominent one would be written out of the program without any outside involvement. Regardless, the Flanders family didn't stick around for very long. Herbert Powell. Meet everyone's favorite unlucky millionaire, Herb. Once upon a time, he was rolling in wealth until he made the mistake of allowing Homer to design his own car, which led to him losing all his riches. Nevertheless, if Herb's car were honest, many would undoubtedly buy it. He first appeared in Season 2, voiced by the talented Danny DeVito, and reappeared later, this time living as a homeless man on the streets due to Homer's company destroying antics. Quite an awkward situation. Herb created a baby speech translator to try and reclaim his riches, and it was a huge success. The effort aided in mending the brothers' strained bond with one another. Herb, though, has not been seen on film since then. Even though Homer wasn't responsible for Herb's financial breakdown this time, the reason for his demise was never revealed, despite his brief cameo in Season 24. Herb was an extraordinary person, especially in comparison to his younger sibling. He was smart, had all his hair, and hadn't been affected by the curse of the Simpsons. It would be wonderful to have him back and see their friendship flourish. We haven't seen him on the show since 1992, and it doesn't look like we will anytime soon. Maybe Danny DeVito's hectic schedule filming episodes of his smash hit program It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is to blame. Edna Krabappel. Bart's former second grade teacher played a significant role throughout the first 25 seasons of the show, having many wonderful moments. Her private life was often the subject of media attention, but her scathing wit and humor were what earned her lasting fame. Despite their many disagreements in the first few seasons, she and Bart gradually came to respect one another and develop a friendship-like relationship. Mrs. Krabappel, played by the late Marcia Wallace, was tragically written out of the show in 2013. In a poignant homage, the show's writers used the opening sequence's recurring chalkboard gag to honor their late colleague Edna, and a later episode showed Ned privately grieving her loss. The show acknowledged how much she will be missed. And there you have it, some of the great Simpsons characters we'll never see again. Each of them added their own charm, wit, and emotions to the show, no matter how minor their appearance may have been. As we embrace the change and the status quo of The Simpsons, we honor the memories of these characters who continue to live on in our hearts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow Simpsons fans. Also, let us know in the comments which of these characters you miss the most and who you'd love to see return. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see you soon, folks.